he was part of the space program. He's really integral into the space program, and he launches, these rockets and works with SpaceX and that type of thing. And what I found out, which he actually did not know, and I pointed it out to him, was that the whole thing was a ritual. The whole thing was ritualized. So they identified certain time periods astronomically when it would be beneficial to launch. And they also the rockets had Roman gods on them. And they also had Latin, first century Latin, not medieval Latin. It wasn't Catholic Latin. It was basically imperialistic Latin. And everybody had to stay in their own space. Like there was a place where they had to stay. They wore the same clothes for every mission. And they ate the same food.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Are you referring to a SpaceX launch? I missed that.
Yeah. Not all SpaceX launches, just certain of them with Tyler involved. And so when he would be involved launching these satellites into space, a lot of times they'd be with SpaceX because that's who they used.
I see.
So they would go, they've been doing this it looks like from the 1950s onward, they've been doing this ritual. And they would even have like a chaplain there. And, it was very, very, it was very ritualized. And so I noticed that and I asked him about it. And I said, do you know that this is first century Latin that's written on these rockets? And he said, no, I didn't know that. He didn't even know it was Latin. And so we read them. I translated them all. And I said, this says that. And I said, who up there in space is going to be reading this? Like, why would you put that on there? That seems so strange. And he said, well, I imagine it's for them. And I said, okay, who are they? And so he just didn't say anything.
Winter is here. Did it say? And then also, does this mean that Elon Musk himself is putting those messages there? Like Elon is a believer in ETs and so on, or is it just one of the staff members?
No, this is beyond. This is way before Elon, so it has nothing to do with him. His company is just a company that does the launches to get the satellites up, but he has nothing to do with creating the satellites or of putting the Roman stuff on them. Nothing at all to do with that. That was definitely predates him. So what does it mean though?
What was written on it?
Yeah, so to me, it looks like what people have called like exotheology or astrotheology. It's this kind of, well, I call it's not a specific religion, but it's a religiosity of people who are involved in the space program. And it's this, it's Roman. The United States kind of considers itself Roman. Look at our, architecture and that type of thing. We're like the new imperial place, right? And so I think that's what it has to do with. They're using the images of gods and goddesses from Rome. And what does the Latin say? Here's something for you to check out. It's they're called patches. And have you seen those patches? Okay, so
haha, we don't know, or haha, we know, but you don't.
Yeah. And so a lot of those are in Latin, and that's where you see, and a lot of those would be on the actual satellites. The images would be on the satellites, and then people who were working the mission, they would get the patch.
And so the haha part, was that on the satellite, or that was just on the patch?
Usually you just have the god or goddess in the image, like the dragon or something like that, on the satellite with the Latin phrase that accompanies it. And the Latin...
All praises and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Ha Rakah Kodash, double honors to our apostle elders, which rule Great Millstone Well, and Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abba baba. So this lady's explaining that the elite of Esau's race, the so-called white race, that their launches, their NASA launches are rituals, religious rituals, right? Which they're pretty much asking for permission. That's what rituals go back to, asking for the right? Because they're not in control. Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai is in control. All right? And they doing these rituals asking for the right to destroy the Israelites. Okay? And she said Latin, so the Latin goes back to the Romans. All right? And the Lord sent the Romans on the Israelites, and they spoke a different language than the Israelites, because the Israelites were speaking Hebrew, but the Latin, the Roman Edomite, all right, which the Edomite today is the so-called Caucasians. But back then they were called Greeks and Romans, Macedonians. They had different names, all right, because they are always running from that name Edom. But it tells you that he will bring a enemy against the Israelite that we will not understand their language. I'll start at 47. Deuteronomy 28:47. Because thou servest not Yahweh thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So the so-called white man is our enemy, and he's the one that put the yoke of iron on our neck. It says, Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the world, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, which Rome used the symbol eagle, which here's evidence of that. You can watch this movie called The Eagle, which deals with the ancient pagan Roman Empire. All right. So it says, as swift as the eagle flieth, and which America uses the eagle also, which you can see the great sail of America. All right. Because America is the reincarnation of Rome. All right. So Deuteronomy 28 verse 49, Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Right? Because they were speaking Latin, and not Dark Age Latin, like she said, Imperial Latin. All right? Which goes back to Edom's Latin. And Edom is the so-called white man, the red devil the Bible speaks of. Which this video shows you who the devil is.
The image is being displayed right now. So if you're listening to this on the audio platforms, then I recommend you click the YouTube link in the description.
Now in this image, you have what it looks like as Esau, as a blacksmith, building a sword. See, red hair, so-called white skin, which that's in the scriptures dealing with Edom. Let's look it. Edom came out red, Genesis 25, and Genesis 25 verse 25, and the first of the twins came out red.
Then I recommend.
See the red hair on that? See it? Red. The first came out red all over like a hairy garment. They're referring to the garments that they were dyeing back then. You know, changing the color. It says, and they called his name Esau, Aishawah, meaning wasted away. All right? Which it says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. Now the father Isaac gave the blessing of the sword to Esau. All right. Genesis 27 verse 37. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord, talking about Jacob, and all his brethren, which are the Israelites, have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? Right? So the Lord is going to give the Israelites blessings and curses, but Esau also has blessings which come with curses. All right? It says, And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also. And they call it a stolen blessing that Jacob got, but really Esau sold it in Genesis 25 because he didn't care about the blessing. So he sold his birthright for bloody meat, and that's why his name was changed from Esau to Edom. All right? And he sold it to his twin brother Jacob. And it says, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, which that's what they're doing right now, and the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword, and by thy sword, and by by thy sword, and by thy sword shall thou live, which the Lord says, if you live by the sword, you shall die by the sword, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. But they don't want to let us go. All right, just like Pharaoh in Egypt. Revelation, Romans 9 and verse 17. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, Even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. Which he had Esau develop that nuclear weapon. All right, and that's why it says in Isaiah 54. All right, and 16, Behold, I have created the smith. The smith is dealing with Edom, that bloweth coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy, which you can see in this image, right? He's the one that the Lord created the sword, Esau, Edom, and Edom has developed the waster, the weapon, the nuclear weapon. All right, to do what? To destroy. It says, No weapon that is formed against thee, talking about the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh. That's our ritual, right? That's our right, right? Our God-given right. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness of me is of me, saith Yahweh. So we're doing exactly what the Lord told us to do, just like Esau's doing what he was told to do. Now Esau has a time limit, which he's going to come down with great wrath, knowing that he had but a short time. And how does he know that? You have the hopeful elect on the scene prophesying, and the prophecies are coming to pass. All praises and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem HaRakakodash, double honors to our apostle elders which rule great millstone well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abba.